Welcome. Jamie Hernandez here, and welcome to Soul Healing for Empathic Entrepreneurs. So, this group is for you entrepreneurs who feel everything, who sense everything, who have run their life and run their business from an intuitive point of view, from an empathic point of view. And that is such a gift. And sometimes that gift can sort of overwhelm us because we feel everything. The linear way of creating our life or our business can sometimes feel overwhelming because naturally, oh, hi, Nicole, right? Naturally, as empathic entrepreneurs, the way we function is by feeling it out, is by knowing, and so when we bring in that linear mind part of our mind, it can feel like a lot of our mental activity is moving towards that, and sometimes that feeling in the body becomes overwhelming, so then it sometimes can stop us from moving towards where we want to go. So this group and this community is for us to be able to land in a place where we can create our life and use the assets of our empathic nature as our asset, as our gift, versus something that kind of brings us down, because all of a sudden when we're feeling everything, and we're feeling everything in our bodies, we're feeling everything in our emotions, and then it kind of like overwhelms the mind. We know how to navigate, right? We know how to navigate that in our field of awareness. And that's why today I'm creating this practice called welcome. Like, welcome to, right, this group. But how am I going to welcome you? I'm going to welcome you through the body, because that's how us empathic entrepreneurs can sense our next most obvious action. Because in business, when we're creating our business, what we're trying to do is so that we don't overwhelm. One strategy is to understand, well, what's our next most obvious action, energetically, spiritually, and for our cash flow. Because here's the thing, sometimes there's so many things we can do in our business, create a website, do this, do that, and sometimes, you know, on a strategic point of view, we want to understand, well, what's the most profitable action in our business. And that doesn't just mean about the money, it also means for us empaths energetically, but also so that we're not running down like a rabbit hole that's going to get us to where we want to go, like, you know, 10 years later. It's like, okay, what is the A to B instead of the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? And I think as empathic entrepreneurs, that's a strategy that we can utilize so that we can avoid that overwhelm. We can avoid that place where we feel we're feeling everything and we feel like we have to do everything, and we have this big mission here on earth. And sometimes that sensation can like take over the body, and then all of a sudden all of our functioning of actually implementing goes into, this is what sometimes happens, goes into healing, but we don't necessarily link the healing to our actual next strategy. And so when we can pair the two together, when we can somatically pair what we're doing in this world, right, that healing aspect, to our next most obvious action, then we're utilizing our gifts as an asset, versus going off and doing our thing and getting all, you know, absorbed, and then kind of going back into our business and sort of feeling disconnected, because all of a sudden we're feeling like this vast gap between, you know, what we're doing and, you know, this kind of mystical, esoteric world. And so what I'm inviting you guys to do and to think about is really take your practice, and then as the insight comes, as the intuition comes, take your next most obvious action. because that's where it's going to be most clear, and that's where it's going to be most available, and that's where you're actually going to remember. Because here's the thing about intuition, it comes in like a dream. So when it comes in, and like we're doing our practices, whatever we do, and it comes in and we don't necessarily hear it, or we can forget it because it's intuitively remembering the future differently. So it's not in the database. So when we sit down and we actually do our work, sometimes we don't remember what the intuitive hit is. Because intuitive hits, especially as you're building something, you're building a dream, you're moving towards a vision, it will always just give you this little whisper. Sometimes it gives you like a very loud, obvious, direction. And sometimes it's just like, what about this? What about that? And these little, what about this and what about that, are you're just like your next, like, whoop, little step towards where you're going. And so when we can kind of get really good at listening to that, then all of a sudden when we're creating our life, it doesn't become overwhelming. Let me know in the comments if that makes sense. We can work with that, and the more we're in tune with that, and the more we kind of start to live in parallel with that, we can create our life using our most vital asset, that feeling place. So today, what I want to practice is just the practice of welcoming ourselves in. And in the healing journey, the very first step is, well, where am I? Where am I? And right now, if you were to stop and just feel into this, where am I? Am I arriving here? Am I here in this present moment more in my body? Am I in my intellectual head, right? Or am I in an emotion? So where are we right now, right? And so take a moment, you can let me know in the comments, where is that for you? Are you in your body? Are you more in your emotions? Are you more in your head? Are you slightly kind of, your head is sort of like outside of yourself, a little bit all over the place. You're kind of in the screen, you're kind of somewhere else. Like, so where are you? And wherever you are, that's cool. So just notice what you notice. Notice. And then to allow ourselves to start to kind of welcome ourselves in, welcome ourselves here, we utilize the body, right? And so one of the easiest ways to do that is just to literally allow our body to move. Breathe in, breathe out. So give yourself the moment to sway and move your weight from side to side in your feet. And you start to allow yourself to land. Land here with whatever is that you're experiencing, whether it's something in the body, whether it's something in your head, or whether it's something in your heart and your emotions. You just give yourself the opportunity, just like, oh, here I am. Here I am. And let yourself breathe in, breathe out. Because every time you breathe in and breathe out, it just lets the nervous system know, like, as I am, here I am, everything is okay. And can I give myself the opportunity just to land here on the ground. And as I land on the ground, I feel my feet. And as I feel the sensations in my feet, whatever that feels like for you, just feel it out. You can even rub your feet a little bit. Rub your feet towards the floor. And you're going to feel like these tingly sensations or some kind of sensation depending on what you're rubbing against. And then all of a sudden, it's like as you're going in this tingly sensation, which as I know as empaths we can feel, start to allow that feeling and that awareness to go into your feet up to the ankles, up to the knees, up to the hips, up to the spine, up to the shoulders, up to the head. And it's like you're stepping into your experience. You're stepping into your experience through the body. And you're just starting to like step into your home. Right? This is your body temple. And you're arriving at your home and you're like, okay, what is here? What's here right now? And as we are right here, right now, it's like we are like, okay, come in, come in, come in. I receive you now, as you are. That's the very first step on the soul healing path. It's just, can I receive myself? Can I welcome myself just as I am? And in that awareness, in that ability, in that welcoming in the body, in that just awareness in your mind and in your heart, just in that, something happens. And some things start to shift and we start to perhaps let in a little bit more space for ourselves, because creativity requires space. So if we're just in the head, or we're just in the emotions, or we're just kind of somewhere in the body that hurts, there's not much space for creativity and that kind of download to be received in the body, to be received in the mind, to be felt in the heart. So take a breath in and exhale. And know whatever is here is just fully welcomed. And you may feel a resistance, you may not, but just notice, as I welcome what is here, what happens? What happens? Right? Am I like, yeah, no, please go away? Or am I like, okay, all right. And then as you begin to move in this experience that you're experiencing right now, just start to notice, what does my body need? And most of us in this community are body workers, yoga teachers, coaches, doing some kind of movement practice. So all of us have a particular relationship with our body, which is the beautiful thing. Another empathic strength that we have is most of us have this like relationship. We develop this relationship of being able to feel the body and it's like, what does the body need right now? So if I were to allow my body to find circles and figure eights, just to kind of give myself a little bit of an entry point in the ankles and in the knees, in the pelvis. There's so many entry points and I'm sure you have your own, but just if you feel like it, just so that you're not in this kind of memory bank, but sometimes we have certain practices and it activates the memory brain. And so sometimes we want to move the body in a way where we're not necessarily thinking about what we're doing or remembering what we're doing. We're just feeling. Again, utilizing our greatest asset, the ability to feel. So if I were just to continue in these circular patterns, which I believe most of us can do, and into the hips, and into the spine, and into the shoulders and the neck, breathing in, breathing out, I can start to feel, what does my body need? Where in my body is there rigidity? And where can I allow these circular motions to start to move the body in a way that, it starts to listen to my needs, listen to my physical needs, listen to my energetic needs, listen to my emotional needs. And we continue to exhale here. And this motion starts to activate the element of water in our body. So you notice there's this kind of wave-like motion. So allow that wave-like motion, that imagery in your body, just to continue. Continue that motion in the body from wherever it feels, from side to side, which is your starting point, from circular motions, and just begin to feel, where does it really wave and move and swish around really good in my body? So you start to feel that water element in your body, and you start to like, where is it in my body that feels really good? And you just let that happen. Simple practice, but again, it's going to allow you to welcome yourself here, welcome yourself in, so that when you continue through your day, it's going to come from that creative space. So we have to allow ourselves to find that space before we're just going to head forward, right? So give yourself the opportunity and the space to allow that water to continue to swish in your body. So into the ribs, into the tailbone, sacrum, into the sternum, into the shoulders, the elbows. You can do figure eights. And notice when you move your feet, how all of a sudden you can start to relax your head. Breathe in. Breathe out. And again, this is your asset. So allow yourself to go into a feeling space. Even though what I'm doing now is maybe familiar, you know it, just give yourself this opportunity to go into that feeling space, because the only way to kind of get in tune and in touch with the way we feel and hone the energy that comes through is by being with it and allowing ourselves to move that energy at our own listening and at our own will, so that that energy doesn't just kind of move through and we sort of don't know where to go with it, right? It's too much in the body and we're just kind of pacing around, or it's too much in the emotion and we're like, or it's too much in the head, right? So we want to allow, however we're arriving, to kind of give it room, give it space. So you start to take up space in your body from wherever you are. Breathe in. Breathe out. And you start to feel that wave-like motion. It's almost like it's versing you. What's that in? That's a French word, but it's like it's when we do that with a baby, right? We rock the baby, and we're rocking ourselves in. We're rocking ourselves like, where am I right now? And how can I continue to welcome my experience? So you give yourself a little moment just to kind of go into it. Go in, go in, go in. You can start to step forward. You can start to step back. And you just start to feel the quality of your water. Is it like this thrashing wave, or is it this calm lake, or is it sort of like, not moving much at all, just this leaky faucet? So just take a moment to allow yourself to swish that water into areas that you feel need that kind of movement, need that space. So you start to take up space, and this is how you start to welcome yourself here. Welcome yourself in as is, because you give yourself the opportunity to express. You express how you're feeling. You express it just by listening. So we're not necessarily trying, but we're listening to that wave-like swishy water motion inside the body. And we start to feel, where is it dry? Where is it rigid? And how can I let the water move into that area, into that crevice? Breathe in. Breathe out. Relax. Good. So this wave and this water motion, I believe, is available to many of us at any given moment. We can begin to welcome ourselves here. welcome ourselves in. And so take a moment just to come on to both of your feet. And all of a sudden now that feeling, those feelings that we feel, that movement that we feel from the inside, just allow yourself to feel that movement from the inside. So there's this natural movement, there's a natural wave that happens inside the body. And it's like a wave that you begin to just, it naturally, instead of you moving your body, the body is starting to move itself. Because all of a sudden now we're letting the body take the reins. We're letting the body just, what do I need? What do I need just to kind of welcome myself here? So if you missed the beginning, we started with a natural wave, and we started with this ability to imagine there's this feeling of swishing around water inside the body. So allow yourself to do that. And again, try not to go into a memory bank. Just let yourself, like a kid, like if I were swishing water inside the body, what would that look like? What would that feel like? So that I can begin to arrive inside my experience, and we can start to listen to what is it that my body needs right now in that wave. Where in my body can I continue to bring circular motion? So in the knees, the hips, the spine, the shoulders, the neck. Where can I allow that circular motion just to kind of come in? So it's this way of listening so that we can start to release the first kind of layer of wherever we're coming from, whether it's from the body, whether it's from the mind, or whether it's from your emotion. You can start to release that layer. So just take this moment to come here, to welcome yourself. This is what this practice is called, welcoming yourself in. Good. And again, wave-like motions, and stay in the feeling. So you're upping the volume of feeling, and you're kind of lowering the volume of thinking. It's like, if I were just to kind of wave around, what feels good? What do I need? What does the body need? So you're not trying, right, to like do some kind of stretch. You're just allowing the body to kind of find those motions in the hips, in the snake-like spine, in the shoulders, in the elbows, in the neck. And as you move your feet, just notice how your head can relax. Exhale. And so as we start to trickle into a more neutral place where we're starting to just stand, there's a natural wave-like motion. There's a natural movement that starts to happen, and that activates, right, that flow of energy that sometimes gets stagnant if we're too much in the head, or we're too much only in something that a boo-boo in the body, or we're just kind of in our emotions. So what it does, it starts to activate the flow of energy in your body. And you can, again, imagine that feeling, imagine that water-like element in your body. Breathe, exhale. And then you begin to land on the floor. Feel your feet against the floor. Land here, arrive here. So as you breathe in, come in, move your attention center. As you breathe out, move down, move your attention down. Inhale in towards the center. Exhale down towards the ground. Inhale in towards the center. Exhale down towards the ground. And again, as you breathe in, you're coming into your experience. Bring yourself in, bring yourself in, bring yourself in. Land where you are and just notice. As I land here, as I am with my body, what is there? What is like that, what my teacher calls a self-existing energy? What is there? What is present? Because whatever is present will want to emerge. If you have an emotion, if you have certain thoughts, if you have something going on in your body, it's going to need a place to be seen, to be felt, to be heard. So just start to allow yourself to come in, to come in, to come in, to come in. Breathe and land. And as you come in, whatever it is you're observing, whatever it is you're noticing inside your experience, can you just open your body a little bit as if you're welcoming a friend home? Like, okay, come, and you just like, come sit on the couch. Just come be with me. So just notice what it is. Is it sadness? Is it frustration? Is it fatigue? Is it an emotion? Is it spiraling thoughts? What is it? And whatever it is, just like, okay, come. You're welcome in my home. All is welcome. All is welcome. Breathe in, breathe out. And as you welcome whatever it is that you're experiencing in your home, you begin to ask, well, what do you need? What do you need right now? What do you need? And just see if there's an answer or not. Right? Good. Breathing in, breathing out. And then we're going to continue the motion. We're going to continue the movement, because sometimes, especially if we're coming in through the head and we're very much in this sphere of attention versus the heart or versus the body, that part of us will want to figure something out. It's like it's trying to figure out a problem, right? But there's another side of us, which is the creative side of us, which allows us to find and hear solutions. So if we're still in the head, we'll need to allow ourselves to continue that movement, and so that we start to receive the answer, versus trying to think about it and try to find the answer in our memory. We start to receive the answer. So let's just take a moment now, feel your feet on the floor if you're standing, and we're just going to breathe our arms up and around. So even this motion, it's just like it's starting to welcome it all. And then you bring it down, you bring that energy down the center. This is your center. And you point it down towards the ground. You can bend your knees. And again, you breathe in. It's like you're just gathering the opportunity. You're gathering, like, what is available for me? In the realm of potential, you're breathing in, you're opening up. And then as you exhale, you're going to open your hands, shift your hips back, fold forward, exhale, release. Hands on the legs, inhale, lift. Hands down the legs, exhale, fold. Inhale, arms up and around. And again, you bring that energy down the center, point it down towards the floor. Feel your feet on the floor. Breathe your arms up and around. Exhale, shift your hips back. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Breathe your arms up and around. Palms together, point your fingers down. Breathe your arms up and around. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms up and around. Stay in the feeling. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel your arms move. Exhale, open your hands. So stay in the feeling. Allow the volume of feeling to increase. Feel your feet on the floor. Exhale, fold forward. Breathe your arms up and around. Gather the potential. Bring it down the center line. Point your fingers down. Breathe your arms up and around. Exhale through the mouth or the nose. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth and the nose. Breathe your arms up and around. Feel your hands. Feel your hands. Palms touch. Bring it down. Breathe your arms up and around. Exhale. Inhale. So we're going to welcome ourselves. We have to start to inhabit the body. We have to start to embody the body, right? If we're going to welcome ourselves in, our body is like the temple. Our body is a home. Our body is the resting place. So in order for us to allow this to be a resting place, we have to live in it. So this movement, this attention inward, this focus starts to align your mind, align your body, align your spirit. Breathe your arms up and around. And this repetitive kind of motion starts to bypass the thinking mind, because sometimes we get really spiraling in that thinking mind, trying to figure things out, trying to figure out our life. And sometimes we want to just allow the body to take more presence, so we can balance out the harmony of our mind, our body, and our emotions. Exhale. Breathe your arms up and around. And again, you go by feeling. So get out of thinking. Just feel. Feel what it feels like just to be in the body. We don't have to do anything even that crazy sometimes to be in the body. Just these very simple movements. Well, for most of us, because most of us here work with the body. Some of us, it might be challenging, the coordination. But a lot of us in the community work a lot with the body, with energy. Open the hands. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. One more time. Breathe your arms up and around. Good. So come down in. Imagine you're coming in. In. Bring your attention in. Bring your attention in. Bring your attention in. Breathe. And land. And give yourself the opportunity just to welcome yourself just as you are. So feel what you're feeling. Notice what you're thinking. And then continue to give all of the experience an embodied presence. An embodied presence. You're living it through the body. That's why we have a body, right? Is to experience life through this physical manifestation, right? Okay, so take a moment here. Again, we're going to start tapping. This also helps, if there's a lot of emotions going on, this really helps us tapping here. And then the forehead. And then the jaw. Good, here. So all healing, all soul healing, it starts right now. There's not a one day when you reach the Himalayan Zen mountain. It's right now. Where are we? What are we? Where are we right now? Here. And can I welcome where I am at in all of my feelings? So we started to notice, where am I at? Am I more in my body? Am I arriving more in my body? Am I arriving more in my head? Am I arriving more in my emotions? And you can let me know in the comments where it is. So we're going to tap on the outside. This is the yang. And then you tap on the inside of your legs. This is the yin. And you're going to tap on your back. And again, you're starting to continue to land in your body, land in your experience. And most of our culture and society, we live from the head forward. Even though we do physical activity, it's like we still kind of often do that through the head. Yeah. And here, this helps for the white blood cells. So we kind of want to continue to bring ourselves back in the body, arrive back in the body, especially when we have our devices. It's like, whew, you know, that's like all of a sudden our mental energy is going forward. And then it's like, we start to lose touch with our physical body. So as we breathe in and as we breathe down, we give ourselves that moment to welcome in. And then we also decide, what else do I want to welcome in? What do I want to welcome in today? So just choose a word. Space, joy, laughter, peace. What else? What more is there? Right? Because there's where we are and that we can welcome in. That's the first step. But then as we kind of know where we are and we've welcomed that and we're like, okay, you're okay. You can be sad. You can be angry. You can have all of these thoughts. You can kind of have this little boo-boo in your hip or whatever it is. Like wherever we are, we're like, okay. And then we decide, okay, so what else do I want to welcome in? We consciously choose, instead of letting life choose for us, we consciously choose and create from within. So what is that for you? So choose something, and as you choose it, just give yourself a moment, like, what does that feel like in my physical body? Right? And if you can't feel it in the moment, think of a time, of a time where you felt that way. What was your facial expression? What was your body? Like if I were to do a kind of a posture of what that is, what would that look like? What would that look like? How would that take up space in my body? If I wanted more laughter, or if I wanted more peace, what would that look like if it just took up a posture, a movement in my body? And it doesn't have to make sense. Okay, so just feel it out. We're good at that. We feel it out. And we open ourselves and we welcome it in. We welcome whatever it is that we are wanting more. We welcome it in through a posture. And then we kind of hold that posture just to So that today you can use this posture just to okay. There is that, whatever I'm coming with, and there's also, this, right? So last moment to just really find it in your body. Find it, not in your head, find it in your body. What is that thing? What does that feel like? And maybe you don't even have a word, you just know it, it feels like this. Good. So this practice of welcoming to the Soul Healing Empathic Entrepreneurs group is to know that, yes, I am welcoming you into this group, but we as practitioners want to practice learning how can I also welcome myself in with what is already here. Am I arriving with the body? Am I arriving with the head? Am I arriving in deep emotion? And can I kind of come inside. Sit in your own temple with yourself. From that kind of very gentle, like the way you would embrace a child or your sister or somebody that you are in love with. And then from there, we start to, once we are embodied, so if you didn't watch the whole practice, once we kind of let that happen more in the body, not just in the head, we kind of let that happen. We started to kind of release the first layer that might be resisting the practice or thinking the practice. Once we utilize the body, right? We did it in a couple of ways. We did it with the water at the beginning, and then we did it with repetitive movement, and then we did it with tapping, and then we did it with a posture. Okay, all very simple practices to welcome yourself in, and then also open to what is it that you're welcoming. What is it? So again, if you want to leave me a comment, let me know, what are you welcoming more of? And again, the starting point is, where am I at in this very moment? But know in this very moment, especially if I utilize the body, that there's a natural transmutation, there's a natural intuition that happens when you utilize your body in motion. The body in motion starts to create that space. It starts to let the nervous system kind of come into a place where it can start to activate itself or relax itself, whatever it needs. And then that space that's created, because creativity, and when you're creating your life and your business, requires space. And creativity is not something we think about. It's something that comes to us. So if we want our life to come into, and our destiny, our vision to come, and for us to hear it and feel it, we have to give it space. And the first doorway is your body. So again, so much of our culture, it's like it's up here, right? And we try to think our way, and when we think our way, we're remembering something that we already know. But when you're creating your future, it is somewhat of an unknown, right? When you're creating your future, it's something that we kind of don't. We know we want to go there, but we don't really know where we're going to end up. That's the creativity of our creating our life, right? And that requires space, and it requires a sense of listening, and then it requires now a little bit of action. So this place, when I said, okay, what do you want more of? That action of just feeling it in the body just helps us kind of embody it, so that when we're moving towards something, we know what the feeling is. We know, and then we remind ourselves consciously using the body. It's like, oh yeah, I want it to feel this way. Oh yeah, okay, right? We remind ourselves, instead of thinking it, we remind the visceral body, so that magnetism, as we develop it, we are we work like magnets. It starts to attract that of which we are continuing to embody, right? So if you see like a child who's like just so joyful and full of laughter, most likely they're going to attract like that around them, and it's going to become like this magnitude of other people. If you just see like that innocence and that purity, most likely that frequency, because it's a high vibration, is going to be felt by others. And it's that same thing in you. If you're wanting more hugs, more community, more laughter, more just like being you in presence of others, right? You're going to know what that feels like. And when you embody it, then others who are in that same frequency start to share that. Because here's the thing about frequency, and I'm going to talk more about this next week, is frequency, the higher vibration in the frame is the one that actually, how do you say it? You might have a negative connotation to this, but it's the dominant, right? So if there's somebody who's like that, and then there's somebody who's like literally living that kind of laughter, that joy, that frame and that energetic frequency is actually going to be the dominant, and most likely will shift the other. Doesn't mean you have to shift other people. It doesn't mean you're never going to be kind of like feeling angry or sad from another person, because you tend to feel everything. It doesn't mean that, but it also means if you're practicing it, most likely that vibration, that frequency is unpracticed. So meaning to say, the vibration that we practice on a daily, like let's say whatever, if we're frustrated, if we're annoyed, if we kind of have like little comments about everything, if that is practice, then that's what we're also going to see outside in the world coming towards us. But if our practice is of laughter, our practice is of joy, or practice, and then again, it's not even you're not trying, it's just something that you're embodying on your own, in your own home, then all of a sudden that's going to be your magnitude, right? We have all heard the what's happening on the inside is a reflection of what's happening on the outside, is a reflection of what's happening on the inside. The external world is a mirror to our vibration. So if we're experiencing something externally, what we want to ask ourselves, where does that live in my house? if somebody's judging me or somebody, like, where does it live in my house? Because if it lives outside of you, it means it lives inside of you. And it's not like, oh, it's a bad thing, but it's just to recognize that's kind of how this world works. Yeah? So this is why we take this powerful yet simple practice to continue to embody where we're at, because we're all, it's very, and this is the thing, when somebody is in a bad mood or something like that, because we've welcomed ourselves in all different states, we continue to practice that, we can welcome them too, right? If somebody's down or whatever it is, we can welcome that too, because we've practiced in ourselves. And then when we also practice and embody what it is we want more of, that we're also going to experience that from an external point of view, because we've practiced it. So whatever we're experiencing is what we are practicing. Yes? So again, the fun thing about this is that we already have the tool. We don't have to go outside of us. We don't have to go to the Himalayan Zen mountains. We don't have to go to the monastery. We can practice right now, because your body is the temple. So let's recap. Number one, we have to arrive. It's where we are coming from, our body, our mind, our energy. Number two, we find our way in, and I did that with the water. We find our way in what does the body need in order to kind of be and express whatever it is we're experiencing, right? And then we went into sort of a repetitive motion, just so that we can continue to bypass the mind, so that more space comes in for receiving, right? We are like receivers. When we become attuned and harmonized in the body, mind, and heart, we become like receptors, and we start to receive from life itself. What is our next, what is our next joy? What is our next obvious action? And that's why in business, now we can start to think, how do I want to feel in my life? How do I want to feel in my business? And for those of us most of us here, we work with clients. What kind of clients do I want to work with? And again, it's that feeling. So we went into that, like, what do we want more of, right? So that feeling, most likely, as you start to kind of continue to embody it, your client will continue to kind of be that mirror, and you'll have that magnetism and attraction, right? So I hope that it was helpful. And so if you want to take this further, because especially if you are in your life or in your business and you feel like you know where you want to go, but there's one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake, and you don't necessarily know how to get there, then you can DM me and let me know, Jamie, I'm ready for a breakthrough yoga coaching call. Because on that call, we're going to look at where is the imprint in the body, where is the imprint in the mind, where is the imprint in the energy that kind of unconsciously got stuck there in order to protect us. Because when we grow up, one of our first instincts is to survive. And so in the body, in the mind, and in your energy, there are certain patterns that get imprinted so that you can survive. But surviving is great, and it's needed, but it's not the only. It becomes limited when you want to continue to move into the vision and into something slightly unknown. Survival is known, right? You know it in the body. So that's one of the reasons why, when we're trying to make something happen in our life, right? Whether it's in our relationships, whether it's in our finances, whether it's in our health, and you don't seem to be able to move towards it. There's some imprint in the body that kind of is, it's almost like a code, a program that is there. And so when we can see the program and decode it, then we can start to understand why is it that I intellectually know what I want, but I can't somehow manifest it, right? And so that's what we do in the first call. And then, of course, if you're, you want to go deeper, I'll talk to you about the programs that we offer to kind of really start to manifest our life, where we work with the body, we work with processing emotions, we work with mastering our energy, we work with clearing the mind, we work with, and then from that foundation, we start to create. Because we can't just create from here. It doesn't work. Especially if you're empathic, we can really start to utilize and pair our asset of feeling into action in our life. And that's how we want to do it. So I hope this practice was helpful for you. Let me know in a DM or in the comments if you have any questions, your biggest takeaways. And I will see you guys next week, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, here in Soul Healing for Empathic Entrepreneurs. If you're ready for a breakthrough yoga coaching call, DM me, let me know. My assistant Katie also puts a link in the comments after a few days, so you can also see that as well. Otherwise, I will see you guys next week here, 10 a.m. live. Feel free to send me your questions and your biggest takeaways, and I will see you next week. Thanks, everybody. Bye.